My wife cheated on me with her boss, then forged my signature to steal $200, $0 from our joint account, and now she's suing me for custody of the house I paid for. Everything's turned into a legal nightmare. I never thought I'd be the guy writing something like this, but here I am. You want to hear about the day I found out my wife, Lisa, was cheating on me with her boss, Kevin? It was a series of small signs that I ignored for too long, and then suddenly everything exploded in my face. Honestly, I believed that if I had caught her in the act right away, maybe I'd feel some sense of closure. Instead, I stumbled onto the truth in the worst way possible. Lisa had always been a little bitchy, but I thought that was just her personality. She was the type to snap at me for leaving a sock on the floor or forgetting to pick up her favorite wine. But over the last few months, her attitude got worse. She was more dismissive, distant, and secretive. She'd hide her phone, lock her screen when I entered the room, and always had some excuse when I asked about her day. At first, I brushed it off, telling myself she was just stressed or busy with work. But deep down, I knew something was wrong. Then came the small things. She started coming home later than usual, claiming meetings or networking events that I later found out were just excuses. She'd get texts at odd hours, things she'd quickly hide or delete. One night, I caught her pulling her phone out of her purse as I came into the bedroom. She froze, then said she was checking her emails. I saw her quickly close a message thread with someone named Kevin, and I felt a strange knot tighten in my stomach. I didn't say anything at the time, but I kept an eye on her. Things escalated when I found her in the garage one evening, her phone in her hand, her face flushed. She was trying to hide it when I walked in. I asked what she was doing, and she snapped at me. "It's none of your business." That's when I saw the text messages, flirty, suggestive, and clearly not innocent. There were pictures of her lying on Kevin's desk, a message saying, "Wait to see you tonight," and a lot of other stuff that made it obvious they'd been sleeping together. My heart sank. I felt like I'd been punched in the gut. How could she do this? We had a decent life, a house I worked my ass off to pay for, and I thought we were happy. Turns out she'd been cheating on me with her boss, Kevin, for months. And the worst part, she lied about everything, spun stories, and even tried to deny it when I confronted her the next day. When I finally confronted her face to face, she looked me dead in the eyes and said, "You're overreacting, John. It's just sex. It doesn't mean anything. Kevin's just a friend and you're paranoid." That was her go-to lie every time I brought up the evidence. She insisted I was crazy, that I was jealous or insecure, but I knew better. I had pictures, texts, and a growing sense of betrayal that I couldn't ignore anymore. What followed was a whirlwind of emotions: anger, sadness, disbelief. I felt like I'd been living a lie for years, and now everything was crashing down around me. I couldn't sleep, could eat properly. I kept replaying the moment I saw her with Kevin, the way she lied so convincingly, the way she tried to gaslight me. It was a nightmare I couldn't wake up from. I also started to question everything about our life together, how long she'd been lying, whether I ever truly knew her at all. The most painful part was realizing that I'd trusted her completely. I had invested all my love, my money, my future into this marriage, and she had been sneaking around behind my back. It felt like the ground had opened up beneath me, and I was falling into an endless pit of betrayal and regret. I kept asking myself, how did I miss the signs? Was I blind? Did I want to believe she was different? It's a brutal realization that someone you love can turn out to be a stranger. In the days that followed, I started digging into our finances, trying to understand just how deep the damage was. That's when I discovered she'd forged my signature on some documents and managed to siphon out $200, $0 from our joint account. I couldn't believe it. All that money I'd worked so hard for gone. I felt sick, furious, and helpless all at once. It was like she was trying to erase me, not just emotionally but financially too. It was a level of betrayal I never expected from my wife. So here I am now, trying to pick up the pieces. My trust is shattered, my heart is broken, and I'm facing a legal nightmare because she's now suing me for custody of the house I paid for. She claims I'm an unfit father, that I neglect the kids, and that she deserves everything. Meanwhile, I know she's been lying about everything: her affair, the money, the forged signatures. I don't even recognize the woman I married anymore. All I know is I have to fight to get my life back, and I don't even know where to start. After I found out about her affair and the money, things got even crazier. I thought I'd hit rock bottom, but that was just the start. Lisa, my wife, she's a master manipulator. She's always been good at spinning stories and making herself look innocent, and now she's using that to her advantage in court. The day I uncovered her forgery and her cheating, I knew I had to act fast, but I also knew I couldn't do this alone. That's when I started gathering evidence, talking to lawyers, trying to piece together what she had done. The first thing I did was dig into the bank records myself. I wanted to understand how she managed to steal that much money. Turns out, she had forged my signature on a bunch of documents, some transfers, some loan papers. She was clever enough to make it look legit, but I caught the discrepancies. I also found receipts for expensive purchases, jewelry, designer clothes, a new car, all bought with the stolen money. It was sickening. She'd been living a double life, not just cheating, but stealing from us. Meanwhile, Lisa kept lying. She called me paranoid, accused me of being controlling, said I was overreacting. She even claimed I had a gambling problem, which was a total lie. She insisted she was the victim, that I was just jealous of her success. I couldn't believe her lies. She's always been good at twisting things around to make herself look like the innocent party. She's a professional at playing the victim, and right now, she's using that to keep everything, our house, the money, the kids. Speaking of the kids, that's where things got even more twisted. She's now suing me for custody of the house, claiming I neglect the kids and that I'm unfit. That one hit hard. I paid for that house with my blood, sweat, and tears. I worked 2 jobs to keep it afloat while she was out, supposedly working, but really just sneaking around with Kevin and spending our savings. She's telling the court I don't care about the kids, that I'm a terrible father. That's a flat-out lie. I've always put them first, been there for every school event, every sick day. It's just her way of turning the tables. I went to see a lawyer and he told me I needed to start building a solid case. I've been recording her calls, saving her texts, and compiling all the financial documents I could find. She's so confident, so sure she can get away with everything. But I'm not going down without a fight. I've also started talking to some of her coworkers, trying to get more evidence of her affair, and I plan to subpoena her phone records and emails. I want them all exposed. The emotional toll is brutal. Some days I wake up feeling like I'm in a nightmare. Other days I get angry enough to rage. I can't believe I trusted her. I keep replaying the moments I saw her with Kevin, the way she lied about everything. It's like I was living with a stranger all along. The betrayal stings worse than I can say. I thought I knew her, but now I realize I never really did. She's a master at hiding her true self, and I was too blind to see it. My friends tell me I should just walk away, that I deserve better, but I don't know if I can. Part of me still hopes she'll come clean, admit everything, and maybe we can salvage some piece of what we had. But deep down, I know that's wishful thinking. She's already shown her true colors: greedy, manipulative, and willing to destroy everything to get what she wants. I've lost trust, I've lost money, I've lost my peace of mind. Every day feels like a battle. I'm trying to stay sane, trying to keep my head above water. I've been so focused on the legal side of things that I barely have time to process how I feel. But honestly, I feel hollow. I trusted her with everything: my heart, my money, my future, and she threw it all away. I don't even recognize the woman I married anymore. It's like she's a different person, and I'm just left here trying to pick up the pieces. One thing I've learned is that betrayal cuts deep, and it's not just the betrayal itself, but the aftermath that really messes you up. The anger, the sadness, the feeling that you were played for a fool, those are the things I'm dealing with now. I keep asking myself, why did she do this? How could she lie so easily? And the worst part, I don't think she even cares. She's more worried about the court case, about keeping the house, about saving her own skin. I'm not sure what the future holds. I know I have to fight for my rights, for my kids, for the house I worked so hard to buy. But right now, I feel exhausted. Like I've been running on fumes, trying to stay ahead of her lies and the mess she's created. Every new day feels like a new battle, and I don't know if I have the strength to keep fighting. But I do know one thing: this isn't over. Not by a long shot. The more I dug into her financial records, the more I realized just how deep her deception ran. It wasn't just a quick affair with Kevin, though that was bad enough. She'd been planning this for months. The forged signatures, the siphoning of money, the lavish purchases, all part of her scheme to cover her tracks while she played the innocent victim in court. I found receipts for jewelry worth thousands, a new luxury SUV she insisted she needed for her business trips, and even a private weekend getaway she took with Kevin when she thought I wasn't looking. I couldn't believe how cold she'd become. Lisa used to be so bitchy but also charming, at least. That's what I thought. Now she was just ruthless. She'd lie to the court, spin stories about how I was neglecting her and the kids, and she'd cry crocodile tears if it served her purpose. Meanwhile, she was living a double life, sneaking around, forging my signature, draining our savings, and even secretly transferring money into her own accounts. I got access to some of her emails, and what I saw made my blood boil. She'd been coordinating with Kevin, planning their getaway, and even discussing how to hide the money from me. I felt like I was in some kind of nightmare, and I was desperately trying to wake up. But every time I thought I was getting close to the truth, she'd come back with another lie, another excuse. She told the court I was a terrible father because I worked too much and was emotionally available. I mean, yeah, I worked hard to give her the lifestyle she wanted, but I was always there for the kids, never missed a school play or a doctor's appointment. Yet she's painting me as some neglectful husband and father. It's sickening how she spins it. One night I finally confronted her directly. I told her I knew everything, the affair, the money, the forged signatures. Her reaction was a classic Lisa move. She looked at me, eyes wide, and said, "John, you're crazy. You're just jealous. Kevin's just a friend and you're making this all up because you're insecure." That was her response every single time I presented her with proof. She's a pro at gaslighting and she's been doing it for years. She insists she's the victim, that I'm the one who's cheating and stealing. But I wasn't going to let her get away with it. I hired a private investigator, and he confirmed what I suspected. Kevin and Lisa had been seeing each other for months, even during work hours, often at some cheap hotel downtown. I got pictures, texts, even recordings of her talking about how she was planning to leave me once she got her hands on the house and the money. That's when I realized she was willing to destroy everything just to be with her new love. It's like she thought she was entitled to everything I built, and I was just some obstacle standing in her way. The legal side of things got messier by the day. She's claiming I'm an unfit parent, that I neglect the kids, that I'm a danger to them because I work late sometimes. That's another lie. I've always provided for them, been there when they needed me, and never once raised my voice at them. But she's trying to turn the court against me, painting herself as the good mother who's been betrayed. She even hired her own lawyer who's really good at twisting facts and making me look bad. It's like a game of chess, and I'm the one losing sleep over it. Meanwhile, she's been trying to get the court to award her the house, claiming I'm absent and financially irresponsible. But she's the one who drained our account, forged my signature, and lied to everyone. I've got all the evidence: bank statements, emails, witness statements from friends and coworkers who saw her sneaking around with Kevin. I even have her text messages admitting she was planning to leave me, though she denies everything. It's a constant battle of her spinning stories and me trying to stay one step ahead. Honestly, I feel like I'm living in a war zone. Every day I wake up thinking about what she's done, and every night I go to bed exhausted, both physically and emotionally. It's like I've lost my partner, my trust, and my sense of stability all at once. I keep asking myself how I let it get this far, how I didn't see the signs, how I did realize she was capable of this level of betrayal. But I guess I was just too blind, too in love, to see her true colors. One thing I've learned is that people will do almost anything when they think they can get away with it. Lisa, been so good at lying and manipulating that I sometimes wonder if I ever really knew her. I trusted her with my life, my money, my future, and she threw it all away for Kevin and some fleeting thrill. And now I'm stuck in this legal nightmare, fighting for my rights and trying to protect what's mine. I've come to realize that revenge doesn't change the past, but sometimes it's the only way to reclaim some sense of justice. I'm not done fighting, not yet. I want her to pay for what she's done, not just to me but to the life we built. I've learned that you can't trust everyone, even the person you marry. And most of all, I've learned that sometimes, the only way to get through betrayal is to stand up and fight back, no matter how broken you feel inside. The legal process has turned into a nightmare I never expected to be part of. Every day feels like a new battle, and I'm constantly on edge, trying to keep my footing. Lisa's lawyers are experts at twisting everything I say and do. She's playing the victim again, crying in court about how I supposedly neglect the children and am irresponsible with money. Meanwhile, I've got evidence piling up, bank statements showing the forged signatures, her emails planning the affair, receipts for the stolen money, and testimonies from friends who saw her sneaking around with Kevin. Her strategy is clear. She wants the house, the money, and full custody of the kids. She claims I'm unfit, that I don't care enough, that I'm a danger because I work late sometimes or because I got upset when I found out about her cheating. It's all a bunch of lies. I worked 2 jobs to pay for that house. I've always been there for the kids and I never raised my voice at them. But she's so good at spinning stories that I worry the court might believe her. Meanwhile, she's claiming I stole the money, that I was reckless with our joint account, that I'm somehow a threat to her. The truth is she's the one who forged my signature to siphon out $200, $0, money I thought was safe, money I'd saved for years. I found out she'd transferred it into her own accounts, bought herself a new car, paid off her credit cards, and even took a luxury vacation with Kevin. It's sickening. She's a master manipulator, and I have to be smarter than her to win this. I've been working with my lawyer to prepare a counterclaim. I want to prove her lies, her illegal activities, and her betrayal. I've also started recording her conversations. She doesn't know, but I've got enough audio evidence to blow her story out of the water. I told her I was doing it, and she just laughed, acting like she had nothing to hide. But I know better. She's hiding something, and I want her to pay for it. The hardest part is seeing how she's trying to turn the court against me. She's hired a high-powered attorney, and I can see her trying to make me look like a deadbeat dad or a reckless spender. But I've always been responsible. I paid for that house. I paid for our kids' education. I put food on the table. She's the one stealing from us, lying and cheating. I've got all the proof, but it's not enough if the court doesn't see it. The kids are caught in the middle. Lisa keeps telling them I'm a bad father, that I don't love them, that I'm dangerous. It hurts to see them confused, to see their little faces when they hear her lies. I've tried to be there for them, to tell them the truth without bad-mouthing her. But I know she's planting seeds of doubt. That's what she does. She manipulates everyone around her. I've also started to realize how much this whole thing has changed me. I used to be a confident guy who believed in doing the right thing. Now I wake up anxious, wondering if I'll lose everything. I feel betrayed, angry, and exhausted. Sometimes I sit alone, staring at the ceiling, wondering how someone I loved could turn into this monster. I don't recognize her anymore, and I don't recognize myself either. But I'm not giving up. I can't. I've come too far, and I owe it to myself and my kids to fight for what's right. I want justice, not just for me, but for what we had, something real, something worth saving. If she's going to lie, cheat, and manipulate her way through this, then I'll do everything I can to expose her. I've learned that in situations like this, you can't just sit back and hope it all works out. You have to be proactive, fierce, and relentless. I also realize I need to protect myself emotionally. This whole process has worn me down, and I've had moments where I thought about just giving up, walking away, and starting over somewhere far away. But then I remember the house, the kids, the life I built. I have to stay strong for them, for myself. I know there's a long road ahead, and I don't know how everything will turn out. But I do know I won't let her destroy me completely. Sometimes I think back to the early days of our marriage, how innocent everything seemed. How I believed she loved me, how I thought I could trust her with everything. Now I see how naive I was. Trust is fragile and betrayal is brutal. But if there's one thing I've learned, it's that the truth always finds a way to surface. No matter how much she tries to cover her tracks, I believe the truth will come out in the end. And when that happens, I want her to remember that I fought for every inch of what was ours. That's what keeps me going, even on the darkest days. The court hearings have become a relentless roller coaster. Every time I think I've made progress, Lisa pulls another stunt. She's claiming I'm unstable, that I'm dangerous, mainly to turn the judge against me. She's hired a slick lawyer who knows how to twist words, paint me as the villain, and make her look like the victim. I've had to prepare for endless cross-examinations, and every time I step into that courtroom, I feel like I'm fighting not just her but an entire system stacked against me. One of the most gut-wrenching moments was when she brought in her own witnesses, her sister, some of her coworkers, who all painted a picture of me being absent, irresponsible, and even neglectful. None of it was true. I've always been there for the kids, always paid the bills, always made sure they had what they needed. But she's good at spinning stories, convincing people I'm the bad guy. I had to sit there, listening to her lies, trying to keep my composure. Inside, I was boiling with rage, knowing the truth was on my side, but the court seemed swayed by her tears and her stories. I've been compiling my own evidence, photos of the house, videos of me with the kids, proof of my stable employment, and the bank records showing the forged signatures. I even have messages from her admitting she was planning to leave me for Kevin. But I know that courts, especially in messy divorces, often favor the person who seems most sympathetic even if they're lying. That's the scary part. The biggest blow came when she filed for sole custody, claiming I was an unfit parent because I neglect the kids and ignore their needs. That's laughable. I've been the one taking them to school, helping with homework, making sure they eat healthy, and comforting them when they're upset. Meanwhile, she's been sneaking around, stealing money, and lying through her teeth. I have witnesses who can testify that I'm a good father, but in court, they often give only limited testimony. I feel like I'm fighting a losing battle. What's even more frustrating is how she's trying to turn the kids against me. She's told them I'm mean and absent, trying to sway their feelings. I've kept my distance from that, trying to let them form their own opinions, but it's hard. I see the confusion in their eyes sometimes. They love their mother, but I know they're also beginning to see through her lies. I want to protect them from all this chaos, but I can't shield them from her words. I've been talking to a counselor, trying to deal with the emotional toll. Some days I feel like I'm barely holding together. I've lost sleep over this, waking up in cold sweats, replaying every conversation, every lie she told me. The betrayal is so deep that I sometimes wonder if I'll ever trust anyone again. I thought I knew her, but now I realize she'd been hiding her true self all along. It's a hard pill to swallow, but I also know I have to stay strong for the kids, for myself. I can't let her win by breaking me down completely. I've learned that in these situations, patience and persistence are everything. I've seen her try to manipulate the system, but I've also seen that truth has a way of coming out. I just need to keep fighting, keep exposing her lies, and hope that the judge sees through her facade. The financial damage is another story. She's already spent the stolen money, bought herself a new car, and even tried to hide some of her assets. I've hired a forensic accountant to trace the money, and I've filed a motion to freeze her accounts until the case is resolved. I want her to be held accountable for her illegal activities, and I want to recover what she's taken. It's not just about the house or custody anymore, it's about justice. Sometimes I sit back and think about how everything spiraled so far out of control. I'd never imagined my life would turn into this mess. I used to believe in honesty, loyalty, and love. Now I see how fragile those things really are. One day, I was just a guy working hard, trying to build a future. The next, I was fighting for my reputation, my money, and my relationship with my kids. It's a brutal awakening, but it's also made me realize what really matters. I've learned that betrayal doesn't just hurt, it destroys everything you thought was solid. But even in the darkest moments, I hold on to the hope that truth will prevail. I won't let her ruin me completely. I'll keep fighting, keep exposing her lies, and do whatever it takes to get justice. Because at the end of the day, I know I'm the one who's been honest, who's been trying to do right by everyone. And no matter how much she tries to spin her stories, I believe the truth will come out. Now looking back, I realize how much this whole ordeal has changed me. I used to trust blindly, believe that love and honesty could conquer anything. Turns out, betrayal can shake you to your core, and it forces you to confront parts of yourself you never knew existed. I've become more cautious, more hardened, but also more aware of what's real and what's not. I've learned that sometimes you have to fight tooth and nail to reclaim what's yours, your dignity, your money, your peace of mind. The court case is still ongoing, but I've come to accept that I may not get everything back, certainly not the years of trust or the innocence of the relationship I thought we had. But I do know one thing: I will never let her take away my integrity. I've fought hard to gather evidence, to expose her lies, and to protect my children from her manipulation. I've realized that justice isn't always about winning in court. Sometimes, it's about holding on to your principles and making sure the truth is known. As I sit here reflecting, I think about the lessons I want to pass on. If there's one thing I've learned, it's that no matter how perfect someone seems, you should never ignore the signs of trouble. Listen to your gut. If something feels off, don't dismiss it. Trust is fragile, and once broken, it's almost impossible to repair. Be vigilant, protect yourself, and don't be afraid to fight for what's right. Most importantly, I've learned that betrayal can come from those closest to you, and it can cut deeper than you ever imagined. But it also teaches you resilience. You find out what you're really made of. I've discovered a strength I didn't know I had, and I'm determined to rebuild my life piece by piece. I want my kids to see that even in the darkest times, you can choose to stand up and fight back. Right now, I'm still healing. The anger, the sadness, the disappointment, they're all still there, but they're slowly giving way to acceptance. I know I'll get through this. I have to. Because life doesn't stop just because someone else betrayed you. It moves forward, and so will I. I will rebuild, I will recover, and I will find happiness again, on my own terms. To anyone reading this who might be going through something similar, I want you to know you're not alone. It hurts, it's unfair, and it feels like the world is crashing down around you. But stay strong. Gather evidence, stay honest, and never lose sight of what's right. Trust takes years to build but seconds to destroy, so guard it fiercely. And when betrayal strikes, fight for your truth. Because in the end, honesty and integrity are the only things that truly matter.